Hello, everyone. I just want to wish you a good day, a good morning, or even a good afternoon to wherever it is that you're plugging into. And thank you for joining us with Railbookers as we're going to discuss about 5 reasons to start planning for your next vacation going over to Scandinavia. Now, as many different others are plugging in, again, I want to welcome you. I want to first off start by saying feel free to download any of our free handouts here on the side. There's 2 handouts, and it's just going to have great information for you to be able to look at. You can only download it while we're currently on the presentation. Now, if you have any questions during any part of this presentation, please input them in the question box, and I'll be more than happy to provide an answer towards the end of the session. The presentation may be more or less 30 minutes, just depending on the amount of questions that we receive. Now, I do want to be able to introduce myself as well. My name is Baltasar Lopez, and I'm one of the business development executives here with Railbookers, and I'll be your host for today. Now, I'll spend some time explaining really who we are, the things that we're able to do, and of course, some of our top selling vacation packages. But more importantly, I'll even discuss some of the advantages that you have by booking through Railbookers, which isn't available anywhere else in the marketplace today. Now, going right into it, what are we really going to cover over on today's presentation? Now, we're going to, of course, talk about Scandinavia, some of the best rail vacations and why even go to Scandinavia in the first place. We'll be touching on the Northern Lights, which I'm sure is many on everyone's bucket list. We're going to talk about limited time offers, as well as booking with confidence thanks to our maximum flexibility offer. And then, of course, how European rail operators are actually providing a safe environment while traveling via train. Now, I do want to address where many of you have traveled with us before, which again, I want to welcome you back and thank you again for continuing to use Railbookers. But there are a few of you where this is your first exposure to Railbookers, and I want to make sure we're on the same page as in who we are as a company. And back in 1972, about 48 years ago, Yankee Holidays was actually our first brand. And Yankee Holidays is amazing as it specializes in US and national parks journeys for any kind of city getaways that you want to prefer. Now, in 2007, Yankee Leisure Group was formed as we began managing multiple brands. So today we now have 3 distinct brands: Yankee Holidays, Amtrak Vacations, and Railbookers. And with Amtrak Vacations, it's very similar to Yankee Holidays. However, we utilize the rail system to get you from city to city throughout the entire US. Now, why do travelers love Railbookers? Well, first off, our booking window is incredible. So whenever you plan a trip, no longer do you have to worry about estimated cost or getting ideas of what it would look like a year out. We can actually book our journeys up to 24 months in advance, including the pricing and the schedules of the rail. We offer bucket list experiences, even for special occasions. So if you're going for maybe an anniversary, a job promotion, um, maybe even a proposal, just let our consultants know and we can see if we can fine tune anything when it comes to hotel properties or even on the journey itself. You'll have the freedom and flexibility to make reservations, to plan out your entire journey, and even when it comes down to it, we can even make it very, I would say, very customizable when it comes to your itineraries. And then it's the most scenic way to travel by train. You're not going on paved roads. You're not going to be stuck in a tour bus. You're actually going on tracks that are going through the land and through the terrain, where you'll see sights you'll never see anywhere else. And we can take deposits, and you can actually pay the rest of the vacation later on throughout the time. So as long as your journey is outside of 90 days before departure, all we require is a deposit to book your trip, and then you can choose to make payments along the way, or you can just wait till that 90-day mark to make the final payment. So of course, the farther you book out, the better you're going to be. Now you can also choose your own accommodations, whether you like 3, 4, or 5-star properties. On the train systems, if you like to have coach class, business class, first class, or even if you want to upgrade to the different room accommodations or private cabinets, we can always make it very efficient to whatever it is that you're looking for. And of course, all of our itineraries are completely customizable. As in, if we don't have a package that fits your needs, we can just build one completely from scratch. Now, I want to go over really our 24-hour support that you have when traveling with Railbookers, but I also want to learn from everyone plugging into this presentation. I know we have a lot of names on the screen right now, but where is your hometown? Where is it that you're plugging in from? We've had people plug in from Singapore, Canada, and the US, even in Australia. And I'm actually speaking from the Laguna Hills office in California. So whatever your hometown is, feel free to put your answers in the question box. I would love to see everyone on where everyone's plugging in. Now, what I do want to mention is that while everyone's putting in their answers, what this is showing is all of our offices, where we have an office in Laguna Hills, California, which again, where I'm speaking from. We have one in Beverly, Massachusetts. We have one in Sydney, Australia, London in the UK, as well as Toronto within Canada. And whenever you travel, no matter what time of day it is, you have support from our team where there'll be a number on your vouchers. So whether it's no matter what time it is in the US, you can always give that number a call and you can reach our team that can assist you with putting together maybe any kind of assistance or adjusting the package, or if you just have questions on your vouchers itself, you always have someone to support you on your journey. Now, here is something I'm really excited to share. It's our maximum flexibility offer. So this was created because the current pandemic that occurred and the vacation travels where, everyone wants to travel, but they're unsure what's going to happen in the near future. Well, this is to give you really at ease, knowing you can book a trip and feel safe while doing so. So any new reservations, say that you make a reservation today or within the next day or two, when it comes to taking your own journey, as long as we have 5 days prior to departure, you can actually change the travel dates or cancel the journey without incurring any kind of change or cancellation fees, as long as the reservation is booked by September 30th. Now, for any existing reservations, where if you're already traveling but you're prepping for your Scandinavian journey, then you are able to reschedule up to 5 days prior to departure to move it to a later date without facing any kind of change or cancellation fees. So this is very exciting. So now you can plan a journey, even if it's at the end of this year or going into next year. And if for some reason the borders on the specific journey are extended to that time frame, you can actually just give us a call. As long as we have 5 days, we can actually move it back to a later date, or you can actually just relocate that journey and just change it to a different destination that can come across any one of our journeys across the world. So again, download this on the sidebar. That's how you can feel at ease knowing you can make a reservation. Now, I want to take the mystery out of rail travel itself because many of you probably have utilized the trains in Europe before, and some of you, maybe you haven't. And it really looks like this, like you see on the map. All these colors here represents all the different rail systems operating throughout Europe, and none of them talk to each other. But with Railbookers, we actually have direct partnerships with all of them, which is why we can put together any kind of journey, whether you just want to stay within Italy, France, or even Switzerland, or if you want to go Norway down to Portugal, you do not need to find the routes. We will give you our best recommendation to do so. And we can put the whole journey together. And this is thanks to our direct rail partnerships, where we have the insider access thanks to being officially partnered with Via Rail, Amtrak, Eurostar, Trenitalia. The list goes on and on. But because of our insider access, we can actually make rail reservations up to 24 months in advance, including the pricing and the schedules of the train. So now you don't have to worry about estimated cost or not being able to book the trips outside of 6 months. Typically, if you were to look at the rail systems on your own, you can only get pricing about 3 months out. But now we can take care of the long-term reservations. Now, before we get into the packages themselves, I want to start off by answering a few frequently asked questions I typically do receive, just so we can start getting the wheels turning when it comes to these trips. Now, the big question is, do I need to pay in full when it's time to book a trip? And this is kind of what I touched on a little bit earlier. You do not. As long as the journey is outside of 90 days from before you depart, all we require is a deposit. And you would be set to go on your vacation, and you only need to pay the final payment when we hit that 90-day mark. So if you book 2 years in advance, you have a long time until you ever have to pay the final payment. Now, another great question is why take the train versus a river cruise? And this is always something extremely great where if you can do both, do both. But if you have to pick one or the other, what we find is a lot of travelers, they'll take a river cruise, and when we set up their post cruise trip by train to see some different sites after their cruise, they find that they wanted to take the train in the first place. And here's why. When you're on a cruise, it's awesome, it's incredible. However, you're on a waterfront. You're seeing everything from a distance perspective. And when you do arrive on land for your week-long journey, you're typically stuck at the port cities. Or it requires a long bus ride in order to take you beyond the port cities, but now you're just taking a bus through Europe. Where by train, you're going on the tracks where you're able to go from distances beyond the port cities. So you can actually see regions not accessible by a riverboat or a cruise ship. And when it comes to the train systems, it's your own journey itself. So you're going on bridges, through tunnels, viaducts. You're going on rugged terrain. You're going by raging waters, even some waterfalls along the way, where you're going to feel like you're on a Disneyland journey or a Disney World journey, but the train is getting you to your next destination. Sites that you're never going to see elsewhere, because if you're on a waterfront, you can't see within the mountains. And if you're flying overhead in a plane, once you're in the sky, all the clouds look the same. So again, you're getting a first-hand experience where a few feet away from the action. And then how are European rail operators actually maintaining a safe environment? Because the train is very exciting, it's very enjoyable, and it's an adventure in itself, but is it safe? And another great thing I want to point out is what we find is that the rail systems were actually still operating to this day throughout the entire pandemic. And it's because they followed these guidelines and they actually amplified them. So, first off, they actually require facial coverings in the stations from the passengers and the staff to make sure that everyone's wearing their face mask following the CDC guidelines. They're stopping the sale of food and drinks on board the trains, which is not a problem at all, as these trains are high speed trains, so they typically do only operate a few hours a day, as that's all it takes to get you to the next destination. They're changing the seat configurations in order to allow space in between yourself and the other passengers to properly handle social distancing. Most of the train systems are, to this day, they're actually operating on 50% or less capacity in order to allow there to be gaps in between yourself and the other travelers. And that's something huge where trains are purposely not selling certain seats, so for your safety. Now they increase the cleaning and sanitation protocols. So on an hourly basis, and in some cases even 30 minutes, they're actually cleaning inside the train, outside the train, the handrail systems, even at the station itself, in order to sanitize everything, again on that hourly basis. And they're going to contactless ticket control, as in they're doing everything either virtually or by card versus, but typically virtually or on your own. That's how there's less hand-to-hand contact. And then what does Railbookers offer is it's much more than just the train itself. We book pretty much the whole land portion of your journey. So we do book seat reservations as well as sightseeing and activities, hotels, ferries, excursions, overnight rail journeys. Just let us know what you're looking at doing and we'll put the whole entire package together. And then what it doesn't mean when we customize a journey is we can have a package and it can look perfect and you can be very excited about it. But let's say you want to add on a destination. Maybe you want to visit one specific city. Well, no longer do you have to go look everywhere on the websites or looking at different pages of internet sources just to find a package that includes that city. Just let us know and we'll add it into our package. If you want to make it a round trip journey, we can add a train to take you back to where you started. If you want to book a trip in reverse, maybe you want to line it up with a pre or post cruise trip, well, then we can always flip any of our journeys. We can upgrade you to first class or private quarters, and we have sightseeing tours as well as many others we could add in, or you could even upgrade it to private tours so you can have your own private feel going through these destinations. So again, there's nothing too much or too little for us. We can customize that any way you'd like and more. And from hotel properties, we have 3, 4, and 5-star options. Again, based on whatever the preference that you have. If you want to take the entire family, you want a very cost efficient, we can do 3 or 4-star properties. But if you want to make it a very in detail proposal, anniversary, well, then we can look at the 4 and 5-star options as well. And then this is our booking window. Again, 2 days to 2 years. If you're looking at traveling in the next few days, we can take care of that reservation. If you're looking at traveling 24 months in advance, we can also take care of that as well. And when it comes to the rail travel, here's really what you need to know when it comes to the trains itself. All of these are different European and Canadian trains, but typically they have a standard class and a first class. The standard class has two by two seating where there's two seats on the left, two seats on the right. Very comfortable. They do not have a middle seat. So again, feeling at ease where you're not going to be stuck in between someone. And that's really how the train looks like. Now, when you upgrade to first class, now you're going to two-by-one seating. So there's much more space in the aisleway. There's space overhead for luggage and at the end of the car. And it's a little bit more quieter. And what we found is that it's always best to at least get it priced for first class. And so you can have that option as it pretty much separates you from the commuters and the travelers. And then we know because we go. All of our travel, all of our vacation consultants, all of our staff are sent on these vacation trips. So we have the knowledge to better assist you on really putting together your dream vacation. If you want someone with firsthand experience or who can paint the picture on what the journey is going to look like, our team's the one that can do it. They're much more than just putting together journeys. They are very excited to help you as they know what it feels like to go to Switzerland, Barcelona, Venice, Rome, even Norway, which we're going to talk about today, which is going into this, the reasons why even traveling through Scandinavia itself by train. So when it comes to Scandinavia itself, there's so many different sites to see and a lot of bucket list activities. Maybe you've heard of Scandinavia, but one thing I do want to say is it's much simpler than it sounds. Denmark, a great place to be. It's the smallest Scandinavian country, and it's actually well known for having the best beaches in Northern Europe. They have quaint little city centers. They have royal palaces, such as the Scandinavia capital, which is over in Copenhagen. Now, also Norway is actually famous for the deep fjords, steep mountain terrain, going on the ferries within the fjords, and also has a lot of Viking heritage. So they have deep roots within fishing. So they have amazing seafood restaurants that are all included in our vacation packages. You also have Sweden. Sweden is the largest country within Scandinavia, and it's really has a lot of mountain terrains in the north, woodland, and right in the south. And there's just a lot of other sites to see, especially with the major cities it offers. And you can actually visit all these different sites on a single vacation trip. So as you're going from city to city, it's not just so much a city in itself, it's like you're going through another time phase throughout life. And then when is the best time to travel? Well, you can travel year round. However, if you want to visit the Northern Lights, I recommend going right between September through March. And then, of course, just give us a call, give our team a call for the best value on any one of the journeys. And a lot of travelers actually go for the fall foliage, which is especially gorgeous during the October time. Now, right before we get into the package, I do want to say we do have a special big offer. So for any Scandinavia or Norway journeys, you can actually save $300 per couple on one of our vacation packages. For our Dublin, Cork, and Killarney and Galway package, that's saving $400 off the package. And any of our Alaskan journeys by land, you can actually save $300 per couple. So again, something to keep in mind when we go over these packages. Now, this is one of our top packages. This is our Grand Norway in a Nutshell package. It's an 8-day tour, only starting from $1,599. And as you see here, it's round trip from Oslo. So all you do is fly in and out of Oslo, and you actually go to Flom for 2 nights, Bergen for 2 nights, and going back to Oslo. But between Gudvangen and Voss is where you take a ferry through one of the narrowest fjords in the world. Now, this package is only starting from $1,599, and it includes a trip to Oslo, which you're going to be able to visit Oslo City Hall. You're going to go to the Oslo Opera House, which you can actually walk up the ramp and just get amazing views of the fjord on the roof. You can go to the Viking Museum, which is included in our package. And also with Norway in the Nutshell, there's unique combinations you can do as well, where when you're going on the Flom Railway, as you see here, the Flom Railway actually takes you through the lush forest of this area. It was actually ranked, I believe, in 2014 as one of the most scenic journeys in the world. And so they have these nice carriages, and it actually ends at a waterfall for about they stop about 10 to 15 minutes, so you can actually get off and take photos at the waterfall itself. Again, things you cannot see from a waterfront, I would say. Now, also there's also the Viking plank dinner already included in the package, and it's in the top left. It really gives you samples of more of the Viking lifestyle. You're going to see the sunset in Flom, which is the image on the bottom left, incredible sights, as well as the fjord safari boat trip that's already included in this journey as well. And then of course visiting Bergen. Now I do want to say is all these sites and all these hotel locations in some of these cities, not specifically Bergen, it's the previous ones, Flom and Oslo, there's a very low availability on hotel properties. In some of these cities, there's only two locations that you can actually stay in hotels itself, and they book up fairly fast. So always give us a call so we can give you the best rate and the best availability time in order to take advantage of these amazing cities. Now, this is our Essential Fjord and the Norwegian Coast package. It's a 9-day tour, only starting from $1,179, and the journey begins and ends in Oslo again. However, you're going over to Stavanger, which is pretty much a whole trip. Excuse me. So you can then take a ferry over to Bergen. Now, this is a great location to stay at. This is one of it's more of a crowd-pleasing attraction. They have old wooden houses. They have must-see sites within Norway, well, sites of Norway itself, and it has a beautiful fjord surrounding, beautiful mountain terrain. There's also white sand beaches on this territory as well. So again, if you want to be able to see a different side of Norway, this is the vacation package to take. And then we also have a Northern Lights package, a 9-day tour, only $859. And you actually go from Oslo over up north to see some incredible sights. And we can also add this in with Norway in a nutshell if you ever wanted to combine multiple cities. Now, you're going to visit beautiful cities along the way. With these tours, they also unearth the hidden gems that these towns have to offer. And then, of course, you're going to go over to be able to be an opportunity to be right there with the Northern Lights itself. Again, so whenever you want to, say, take a journey, you want to have a bucket list experience, these are the journeys to be able to take. Now, and then, of course, we have our Grand Scandinavian tour. It's an 11-day tour starting from $1,749. You visit 5 incredible cities within Scandinavia. You're going through fjords, sightseeing cruises, and even the attraction pass in Oslo. You have hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tours within Stockholm to take you to the major sites within the town. And you can even visit top attractions in Helsinki, as well as transportation passes within the town as well. And again, we include the ferries as well in between Stockholm and Helsinki. So going over to Copenhagen, you go over to Gothenburg as well. Stockholm's already included, and then Helsinki. And in every destination, you have multiple hotel nights, again, just ranging from whatever amount of time that you want to be able to stay in the city. And then we, of course, have Cologne and Copenhagen. It's a 6-day tour, and it's only starting from $649. This is having many different sightseeing attractions within Copenhagen as well as with Cologne. And this is also the best location if you want to fly in and out by flight. So again, we'll do the whole land portion, but now you can arrive into these towns and it has more of a Gothic feel when it comes to these destinations. Now, one thing I do want to mention is why take the train in the first place? And when you're taking maybe travels through a specific destination, you're going maybe on a tour bus or a car rental, and those are great. However, you're going on the paved roads where you're only able to see things from really a side point of view. Now, don't get me wrong, they're amazing sights. But last time I was on a tour bus, in my own experience, I was pretty much just stuck to my seat. I had to share the armrest with another passenger, share the air conditioning on the top vents, share the TV with all the other travelers. Sometimes there was awkward eye connection with the driver looking through the rearview mirror, and no one really wanted to use the restroom at the end of the bus. Now it was still a vacation, and I just use it as really just traveling to my next hotel. But by taking a train, it changes everything because it gets you right into the heart of the city. You have large panoramic windows to look at all the land you're passing through. You're not on paved roads, you're going through the terrain where there are no other vehicles driving next to you. And you're going on bridges, viaducts, tunnels, and you arrive right in front of your hotel in some cases. So you can enjoy a meal on board when they start reopening up the meals, but it just takes away everything. I can move around the train to maybe the observation car, lounge area, the dome car, or even in my private quarters. So taking a train is all around a better experience where you're going to forget that it is mainly your transportation, as it's going to feel like it's a sightseeing tour itself. Now, a question that I have is which destinations really stood out to you? Or maybe what destinations really are you more interested in? Maybe it's going to be Scandinavia. We found a lot of travelers really wanting to head out there, as many reservations were already made for these destinations. But maybe there's something else that's catching your eye. Maybe it's national parks. Maybe it's going over to Canada or Alaska, or maybe if it's other parts of Europe. Feel free to put your answers into the question tab, and I would love to hear all your answers. And if you're looking at traveling this year or next year, feel free to put your answers there as well. Now, as you're doing so, I do want to share with you a few customer testimonials. I'm not going to read it word for word, but what I will say is that the most common denominator is that it was just very convenient just to be a one-stop shop and just hand it all to Railbookers, where you don't have to worry about putting together the packages. You don't have to worry about really setting up your day-to-day schedule. Just give it to us and we can put the whole entire journey together. Now, I do want to mention why travelers love Railbookers just to start ending up here. And again, it's our booking window. Being able to book up to 24 months in advance on any of our journeys. We can now offer bucket list experiences, so you can pretty much get your list and start scratching off the things that you did want to see, since now you can travel with Railbookers. You have the freedom and flexibility to roam around the train as much as you like. You're not confined to a seat like a bus or a plane. And again, it's the most scenic way to travel. You're going also on ferries, going through fjords, not just by train, also by waterfronts as well. And all you have to do is deposit now, where you can actually pay the rest of the trip later, as long as it's outside of 90 days before departure. And again, you can choose your own accommodations. If you want to have maybe a 3 or 4 star properties in a certain city, and then 4 or 5 star properties in other cities, we can absolutely do that if that's what you prefer. Also, all the itineraries are completely customizable. So if there's something that caught your eye, but you just wish it had a little bit more of an adjustment, call our consultants and they can customize it how you would prefer. And again, don't forget about our maximum flexibility offer. For any new and or existing reservations, as long as we have 5 days before departure, we can reschedule the journey, or if they're new reservations, we can actually cancel it up to 5 days prior to departure. As long as they're actually booked by September 30th, where you won't face any kind of change or cancellation fees. But you have to actually qualify in that, which means booking the trip now. And don't forget about our special big offer. So for any of the Scandinavian or Norway journeys that we went over today, you can already save $300 per couple on any one of those journeys. If you want to look into Dublin, Cork, Killarney, and Galway, then we can do $400 off per couple. And if you're looking at any of the Alaskan journeys by land, then it's $300 per couple off. And I'm not going to stay on this slide too long. It's our awards and recognition. We were recently featured on Wheel of Fortune, Forbes, Travel and Leisure, Travel Weekly, Afar, USA Today, and many of our other awards we received for the services we're able to provide. And we're just glad we can continue to add value to all of our clients traveling. Now, you can always visit our website at railbookers.com. You can go on our destinations, vacation types, other locations we're offering, and what's included. But one thing I do want to mention is that you are not able to book online. It is always by calling in. So you just call that number at the bottom of the screen. You reach our consultants within 3 seconds. and that's our average hold time, 3 seconds. And then you can actually build a quote over the phone, and they can email you the full itinerary in a matter of, say, 4 to 5 minutes. Now, one thing I do want to mention is if when you're looking at putting together a journey, one better step is to actually reach out to your local travel agent, to reach out to maybe a travel agent you're currently working with, or even your local agency in your neighborhood, and let them know this is the Railbookers journey I want to take, and then we can work with your agent. That's how you can still just dust off your hands, not worry about it, and we'll put together your whole entire journey. So absolutely, you can give us a call and we can take care of those reservations now, or you can speak with your agent and we can do all that work back and forth. And then our Railbookers brochures, we have our Railbookers traditional brochure, which is the one on the far left. Our Via Rail Vacations is our Railbookers products in Canada itself. We work with special partners like the Rocky Mountaineer as well to provide a luxurious experience if you would prefer to have that experience, or if you want to have maybe overnight journeys cross country. We have our Eurostar vacations for our European journeys, and of course our Trenitalia vacations for specifically Italy itself. Now, these are all virtual, so if anyone would like these brochures, just feel free to reach out to us and we can get these sent out to you directly. Now, we do have upcoming webinars, so keep in mind, on June 30th, we're going to go over 5 of the best countries in Europe to experience by train. July 1st, benefits of private sleeper accommodations with Amtrak vacations. And July 7th, discover Ireland and Scotland by train. And then July 8th, we have life on board coast to coast rail vacations with Amtrak vacations. So a lot of these European journeys are day trips on train, but when you're looking into the US and Canada, well, you can actually sleep overnight on the train for a real true train experience. So if any of these catch your eye, feel free to reach out to us and we can get you set up on any one of these presentations. Now, don't forget, you can download your free handouts here on the side, which I recommend to download. And if you have any questions, now is the time to input them in the question box, and I'll be more than happy to provide an answer. So we do have a few minutes for questions, so let me just pull this up now. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. I see a lot of travelers from California, so you're right here with me, 7 a.m. Welcome. A few New York, we have Texas, we have Connecticut in the house. That's awesome. Again, welcome everyone who's plugging in. Oh, and we have Utah. Thank you, Greg, for that. Okay, so perfect. So I see a few statements on exactly the details on their journeys. Perfect. Our team can get you taken care of for that specific vacation package. Okay, perfect. So what is the best time to travel again when it comes to Scandinavian journeys? So whenever it's all year round. So no matter when you want to travel to the Norway area or any part of Scandinavia, you can travel at any time of the year. Now it just depends when you want to, and even right in July, August, even in June. So the times we're in now are also great times as the weather's very easy to be able to travel in. You don't have to bring so many clothes or layers is what I like to prefer. But when it comes to the Northern Lights, that's where you want to really plan out your journey from September in between March, as that's the best time to see the lights, really the best time to be able to see them. Now, during October, the fall foliage, where many travelers go through the US, say to Boston or to Portland, Maine to see the fall foliage. Some people in Canada are traveling on the East Coast to see the fall foliage. But if you want to see that in the Scandinavian area, then October is going to be your time to travel. Okay, and I see the question is how much is the deposit to book a trip? And final payment is by 90 days, correct? And yes, so the deposit to actually book a journey is $250 per passenger, and that would set you up for your entire package so you can be set to go. So if you are booking a trip, say 2 years in advance, all you have to do is pay $250 per passenger, plus the cost of trip protection if you do choose a trip protection or not, and you are booked for your journey. You do not need to pay anything else until you hit 90 days before departure. So some travelers, they call in every month. Some travelers, they call in every few weeks or even every 2 months to actually make payments along the way. You'll have a reservation number where you can do so. Or you can just wait till the 90 days and it will automatically get charged for the remaining balance of whatever's left over. I see a great question here. So, what is the minimum requirements for Railbookers trip? And with Railbookers, all we require is at least one hotel and one train within the package. And here's why. We are unable to do just the train itself, as that's going to lead to just booking commuters. And what I mean by that is that the contracts that we have in line with all of our partners with the rail systems, you could only quote it about 3 months out, but thanks to our insider access and our direct contracts with them, they allow us to book up to 24 months as long as we're booking vacation travelers because they don't want us to take away from their commuter business. So in order to prove we're booking vacation travelers, we require at least one hotel night in our itineraries. So as long as you have one rail and one train, well, now you have access to all of our services. Now, we do typically get asked to book the whole entire package, but if that's going to be the bare minimum we would need for Railbooker's journey, and it can be as easy as just one hotel night in Zurich, and then a train from Zurich Airport to Zurich itself, and that's about a 10-minute train ride. Okay, and Karen, great question here. So, and that deposit, is it refundable up to 90 days, up until 90 days? And so the way that that works is, again, thanks to the maximum flexibility offer, that is actually changed during the current time that we're in. So when you speak to our consultants, they can give you a detailed information on what that looks like because before pandemic, what the deposit would look like is you pay the deposit and that is a non-refundable deposit as you are set for your journey. But if you say that you paid more than the deposit, well, we will give you back the remainder money. We would just keep the deposit. That's where the trip protection comes in place, where the trip protection allows you to cancel your journey up to 1 business day before departure. So if you are traveling and as long as you have 1 business day, it's canceled for any reason. You stub your toe, bad hair day, you just don't want to travel anymore, then you can actually give us a call and we can actually cancel your journey. You receive everything back, including the deposit, and the only thing that's kept is the trip protection itself. But because the current pandemic with the maximum flexibility offer, well, now you can actually change your journey. And I don't believe it would be a refund on the deposit itself. You could just relocate those funds to a later date or even to a different destination. So since you're working with rail bookers, you're not limited just to Scandinavia. Say you book Scandinavia, but that's maybe there's a special lockdown in that area. Well, you can actually redirect those funds on that journey and just relocate it completely to a Canadian journey, Alaska, US. You're not limited just to one territory, and that's the best part about working with rail bookers. So that's exactly what it would look like. And when you speak to our consultants, they can really give you more in detailed word information when it comes to the new flexibility offer. Great question here. So can I book online? And that's a great question. You are not able to book online as we use several systems to book and customize itineraries. So it actually takes by calling in. And again, our average hold time is 3 seconds. So just give us a call and we can put together the entire journey. And I'm sure you'll be extremely surprised as well. We can book that, we can actually quote the entire journey within just a few minutes over the phone. Bonnie, great question here. So what does your trip protection cost? So it just ranges on what's included in the package. Typically, just a very small vacation package that someone's traveling for, it can be about $49 per passenger. But if it's, say, a 2 week long journey, the trip protection also protects you on your journey itself. So for luggage or baggage, as well as train connection, that trip protection is protecting you. So the more that's included in the package, it automatically adjusts. So whenever you receive a quote, it will show you exactly the number of what the rate is for the trip protection for your specific package. But for a small getaway, for a small journey, typically I see it at $49 a passenger. And that's cancel for any reason up to 1 business day before departure. A lot of my colleagues who still take their own private journeys, even though we're traveling to these destinations, they also take their family and private journeys themselves. They always take the trip protection. Again, it's just so much more easier to have that peace of mind that if something comes up, you are covered. And any other questions, feel free to throw them in now. Okay, this one's a great question. So, does it cost more to customize a vacation? And I know we very heavily always talk about we can customize anything that you're looking at, and it does not cost more. Uh, on average, when you call us, we can quote a simple preset package in maybe about 4 to 5 minutes. And if you want to customize it, I would say it may take an extra 5, 10, 15 minutes, just depending on how much customization happens. And that can all happen over the phone in the same time that you called. So it does not cost more. All we get is the total price. So whatever's in the package, that is what comes out as a total price. So it's not, there's no difference whether it's preset or not. Just we want to create the best one of a kind trip that you can never get elsewhere, and that's what Railbookers can offer. Perfect. I want to thank everyone again for joining Railbookers, and I want to let you know is that when you're ready, we're ready. Our entire team was actually able to relocate home base before the lockdowns actually required us to. And now I just want you to be able to see most of our staff. It's if we put in everyone, then then it would just be too blurry. But we're here and we're excited. When you're looking at putting together a journey, even if you're looking at just getting a quote, if you have any kind of questions of what it would really look like, just give us a call. Give our team a call, and then I'm sure you'll be very impressed in the service you're able to receive from our team. So again, thank you again for joining us with Railbookers. I hope we can answer your questions when you call in. And again, just give us a call. These are trips that you would already put together, but we can make it a lot more efficient in doing so. So I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, and then we'll be chatting soon. This is Balthazar from Railbookers.